Okay, clarinet 1 and 2. We're going to go through both parts because I kind of realized as I was making these videos that in this grade level of music, a lot of stuff is doubled. And in fact, you guys are doubled all the way through. You know, how funny is that? 13, 14. So that's what it is. It's measure 16. All of a sudden, things get a little different, but not all that different. I'm not sure why. I've got things split up a little weird. Anyways, so let's take it from the beginning up through measure 13, and then we'll talk from there. So just watch your slurs. D, da, 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 D, da, da. Slurring from the second note to the third note. Okay, so here we go. Let's just go ahead and start on the second measure together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so make sure that your B's are being natural when you're playing your B's, that you're playing it with your middle finger, okay, instead of your first finger. Okay, so at 7 we have D, C, B natural, A. Excuse me, A. Now, measure 13, we have rest, C, A, C, staccato. Little dots under or above the note, those are staccato, that means they're short. 13, here we go. I'm going to be playing the first clarinet part. So second clarinet's in 13, 14, 15, 16. You go down to with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here we go. Measure 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we have a repeat from the beginning. Second clarinets, you really only have a difference in measure 13, 14, 15, 16. Measure 16, that's the only measure that's different in that whole section. 23, it's all the same again. And then before 34, that's all the same. So let's talk about that. 4 measures before 34. We have D, 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 dun, 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 D, dun, D, dun. Now, I find that my students often will feel a little lost on the beat when the notes come across the measure, like they do in measure 30 to 31. So the F, D, D, C, C, that C that comes across the measure, that quarter note tied to that half note. Just keep feeling that pulse. So D, D, da, dun, dun, D, dum, dum, D, dum. Once you feel that a few times, you'll get it. All right, here we go. Third measure of 28. So where you come in after those 2 measures of rest. 1, ready, and. And then that half note tied to that 8th note really is just telling you, release on beat 4. Do it. Release on beat 4. Don't carry it too long, too short. Okay, then 34, you have a rest on beat 1, so be careful of that. Let's go ahead and play at 34. 1, 2, ready, and rest. Repeat it. Okay, awesome. So I'm just checking here to make sure that both parts are covered equally here. Good. All right, cool. So then at 46, the first clarinets have a little something that the second clarinets do not. And so let's take a look at the first clarinet part first at 46. All right, so second clarinets, you can just hang out for a second. All right, 46. Okay, so that gets up to that high D. If you don't know that high D, that's that register key in the back, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, my clarinet is acting like maybe there is a leaky pad somewhere. I might have to look at getting another clarinet to help you guys with this part. Really hard to get out. And then it repeats that again. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. So take a look at measure 47, where you have that C sharp. You have E, then C sharp, and then B. Okay, so C sharp, then B. So what we're going to want to do, so you can see how this pulls down for the B natural, and you also need the C sharp here. So you can't move that pinky over both effectively. So your C sharp in measure 47, you're going to do an alternate fingering where you're playing this key down here, the very bottom on the inside. So C sharp, then B. Look at how much easier that is. So. This is so frustrating. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, there is a leaky key somewhere on the upper end of this clarinet. So I'll have a better clarinet next time, promise. Because I don't usually have a problem with my high notes. Okay, so anyways, then 50 is repeated through there, the first clarinet. Second clarinets, let's take a look at you at measure 50. You have that G, D, D. I don't know why they did that. Let's do this. See that high D right before 50? That was kind of silly. Take that D and just put it down. So it's, instead of G, D, D, just go G, G, D, D, G, G, D, D, G, D, D. All right? Do you understand what I'm saying? The note right before 50. That high D, just play it down where that next D is. So it'll sound like this. Now, if you don't know your C sharp, that's C with this tiny little banana key right here. Hi. So there's your C sharp right there. And then D da 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 dum, and then everything else is the same. Measure 60, second clarinets, you drop out. First clarinets, you go all the way to the end. You have that B natural there at 60, so. Wow. I'll be honest, I'm almost tempted to erase this video and go get a better clarinet so that I'm not making all those squeaky, gross sounds. But I'm going to leave it because it's a good example of accepting things when they go wrong and just rolling with the punches on it. But I will show you why I think that this clarinet is, it's the pads. Can you see this pad here? Do you see the how it's kind of eroding here? So, and you can see it on this one too. The pad is kind of eroding some. So these pads eventually become old and worn, and when that happens, then they don't seal correctly. Oh, there it is. I found it. So it's on this one right here. I don't know if you can see that, but do you see the chip out of the bottom there? So that is where that air is leaking out of, and why I'm not able to hit those notes very well. So if you're really struggling to hit those high notes, it could be because you just don't have much practice with it yet. But if you have been practicing a lot and they're still not coming out, or if you've had them before and they're not coming out now, that's quite possibly what it is the pads might be leaking, or there might just be damage to one of the pads. It is very easy for that to happen. Okay, that's it for Dreamcatcher. Practice a lot. First clarinets, you're going to have a ton of work cut out for you from 46 through, 55, 56. But the good news is once you get that work done, it's there, okay? It's worth the work. Okay, so while you're working hard, remember to have fun. Okay, I will see you in the next class.